Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another coaching call. My name is Madeline, and over a time span of 12 weeks, you'll be seeing 14 different coaching calls by me to help you on your DigiEduHack host journey. We are with you all the way from when you first register as a host to when you have successfully completed your own local hackathon. If you have any questions on the call, you can ask them here under the video and we will answer you in text. You can also reach out to us at contact@digieduhack.com, or you can join our weekly support calls on Friday mornings at 10 a.m. Central European time. If you have any questions and you want to ask them face-to-face in a video call instead. Do keep in mind that in order to join those support calls on Discord, you need to register as a host and get access to the Discord space. We will help you out if you need anything with that. If you haven't seen our other videos, we're already on week 9. So do check out the topics of those videos to see if there's anything relevant that you need to know before joining us on this week's call. What we will be covering today is the onboarding and preparing of your participants, mentors, and your jury members. We will go through these separately so that you know what actions to take on the different profiles that you are welcoming to your hackathon. But the process of onboarding is, of course, making sure that your new participants, mentors, and judges are familiarized with your local hackathon and the format that you will be performing your hackathon in, and they are comfortable and know what to do and where to be. We will start with discussing your participants and how to onboard those. First, make sure to study your registration. So any registrations that come in when people register for your local hackathon on your own challenge page on the DigiEduHack whole platform. Check a bit the profiles, etc. We'll go through this a bit more in detail as well. But this can be done whenever a new registration comes in. So you don't need to wait for the deadline to register. You can look at them whenever they start rolling in. After you have selected who to invite to the event, if you select and if you do not invite everyone, it's time to invite your participants to your hackathon. Make sure that they know that they are approved and that they know what is required from them in order to confirm their participation, and they know what will happen next before the actual hackathon takes place. After this, you will do an onboarding session. You will do an onboarding session to brief your mentors and your jury members separately, and then also a larger onboarding session for the participants, where you can also invite your mentors already. More about that later. And then finally, remember to follow up with your participants, mentors, and judges. Send the recording of your sessions, send guides, and keep them updated until the event starts. Let's jump in a bit more detailed. So throughout the registration period, when you get in registrations, this will most likely happen the most, and especially within the last week, last days even. But check those registrations, make sure that you know what they are about. If you notice that you begin to have a lot of registrations, maybe you need to plan extra mentoring, maybe you need to rethink your resources and capabilities. How many can you actually take in? And is there a way for you to take in even more than, let's say, 50 participants? We advise you to start communicating with these registrants already when you see that they express interest in your hackathon. If your hackathon is such that you hope that the teams or participants are already teamed up before the hackathon starts, advise them to team up, help them on how they can actually find new team members and participants and so on. Based on their profiles, ideas, maybe you can start matchmaking them already if you already notice some individuals with complementary skills and so on. Also make sure that if they do not yet, and there is a way for them to fit the criteria, this of course depends on your hackathon and if you have any specific criteria for your. And if you want to learn more about the matchmaking in general, we will be focusing entirely on that next week. So we don't leave you in the dark there either. If there's any criteria, let's say that they do need to have a team or they do need to have something else in terms of skills or profile, make sure that they are aware and they have time to add that to their profile so that they are eligible if that's the case. Also super important, if your participants register before the webinar takes place, if you are hosting a pre-hack webinar, do invite them in this first reach out to them, because it's super important and good way for them to get more familiar with you as an organizer, with your partners and sponsors as being a part of your hackathon, the challenge. They get to meet other people that are interested in the challenge and so on. You can check the pre-hack webinar call for that as well. But do invite them to your pre-hack webinar if you're hosting one already when you first reach out. If your resources only allow for, let's say, 10 to 15 teams or something between 35, 50 participants, or whatever the case may be, then you need to shortlist your participants and decide who you will invite. If you can host everyone, as said, super duper, but if not, then just make sure that you shortlist so that you are at capacity to take all of those participants in. When you invite your participants, I'm going to show you on the coming slide as well how you do it actually on the DigiEduHack, your own challenge platform. But if you go to your personal profile, you can either confirm or reduce or refuse or reject a participant. The confirmed participants will receive an automated email that informs them that they are accepted to the DigiEduHack event. The same goes for the rejected participants. They will get a message that they will not be able to attend. In addition to this, we strongly recommend that you do reach out to these personally as well. So if you accept a participant, send them a personalized email after with, again, introducing yourself as the host and their main contact person if they have any questions. Send them, if you accept them before the webinar, send them again the invitation for the webinar. Send them information about the onboarding session that will take place. Maybe you already sent them a guide, or maybe you send it after, but send a first reach out to them so that they know who they can contact if they need help with anything. If you refuse someone, same here, they will get an automated email, but it's not super personalized. So do send another email after with the reasons that you refuse them, if it's not super obvious on your page, that there is a very, very obvious criteria, but tell them why they were rejected. Maybe you could point them into other DigiEduHack events so that they could DigiEduHack hackathon. As you know, we have several going on during the same week. So do recommend that they look into other and register for other events as well. We're all in this together after all, and helping our co-hosts out. As we said, please try to host as many of your registered participants as possible. And for those that you refuse, you do need to have clear basis for why you refuse them. We have a few examples here. So let's say that your resources that we talked about, you can't take more than, let's say, 50 participants. In terms of how many resources you have from your own team, the venue capability is not big enough, you don't have mentors to support them, whatever the case may be. So you just don't have the resources. Maybe your hackathon participants need to be students of a specific university, even a specific course. Then, of course, a researcher or teacher from that university can't be a participant. That's a good criteria as well, or a good basis. Do they need some specific technical skills or something like this that they don't inherit? Here, of course, may be good to check if they do have that, but again, you have clear basis for why they were refused. Here you can see on your own DigiEduHack platform or on the website, you have your profile here, and then you click on the participants button here under challenge management. And here you can see a long, hopefully a long list of your participants. We have one example for you here. For collecting the email when you reach out, either to send these personalized refusal or approval emails, or to send them the first communication when you haven't refused or approved them yet, but you've seen that they registered. Click on the name here, and then you get their personal email. When you decide if you want to invite this person or not, if you approve, you simply click this box here. But if you refuse, you click on the red refuse word here. So same box, but different buttons. Yes. When you reach out to your approved teams or participants, do invite them, as said, to the onboarding session. The onboarding session is a kind of a longer session because it is the first time that you get to meet your participants, and you have a lot to go through here so that everyone is prepared for the hackathon itself. The purpose of the session is to welcome your participant, prepare them, maybe even present their project ideas and get some ideas on how they can work on them even before the hackathon and so on. We advise you to start the session with the Meet the Mentor session that we talked about in coaching call 7. But other than that, in terms of practicalities, do focus on the schedule. So how much time do they need to put aside? What will happen on these days or this day? What items are in there and what do they mean? Even logistical, like either logistical information about the venue or then logistical information about the online meeting tools that you're using, depending on your format. What online tools is there? How do they get to the venue? What are the house rules? So on. If you're doing a hybrid, then of course you need to go through both of these and so on. How can they let you know if they will be online, on site? All of these practicalities. If you are using online tools, you can already test it out in this session so that you use the same tool that will then be used in the hackathon so that everyone's familiar with it at least a little bit. Also go through the mentoring system and how the mentoring will happen. How is it to be mentored in this hackathon? How do you reach out for help? Or will you be assigned a mentor? what are the check-ins that we talked about earlier, and so on. So how will the mentoring be done, and who are the mentors and expertise that they can take support from. Also go through the evaluation of the final projects or presentations. You can introduce the grid, the evaluation grid, explain how the jury will evaluate the participants, and so on. We will talk about evaluation and the evaluation grid in 2 weeks from now, simply focusing on evaluation of the teams. So you will get to hear more about that then. So for the session, we suggest that you book around 45-60 minutes for the Meet the Mentors part, and then another 30 to 45 minutes for practicalities. And this includes a Q&A as well, so you don't need to present the whole time. Yes, if you have more than 15 teams, you might need to separate the 2 different sections or parts, because otherwise it might get too long. So think about the amount of teams that you have and see how you will schedule this session. Start with the practicalities, focused meeting, and then follow this script, for example. I'll show you the participant guide as well after this. As you can see, you have some purple and some pink here on this schedule or timeline. So the first purple part is the part that is related to Meet the Mentors session, and then the pink part is related to the practicalities. So those are the differences. So first, when you kick off with the Meet the Mentors first, you have the mentors introduce themselves in 1 minute or so. So just focus on challenge relevant info. So who are they, where are they from, what's their background, and how will they support the teams? Something like this, super quickly. After this, you give over the word to the participants. Here you can go if you already have a order of teams. Let's say you have 15 teams and you've already decided who will be team 1, team 2, team 3, and so on. So tell them the team order and then jump in to the team project presentations. Here again, give a minute or 2, something in between, for their presentation. So you only want a super high level description of what they are trying to do. What do they want to work on in the hackathon? And then give another 2 to 5 minutes for the comments from the mentors. As said, this can be spontaneous feedback, questions, thoughts, maybe something that they missed, something that they could research before they get started in the hackathon itself. After this, the mentors are free to leave because you onboard them separately as well, but the rest basically is only concerning the participants. Of course, if your mentors want a reminder or they want to hear it again, they are free to stay. After this, you go through the schedule in detail, explaining each item, what is it, what does it mean? After this, you present the venue. As said, is it on-site or blended? Then go through the venue logistics. How will the working spaces be provided or divided? How do they get there? Will there be food? So on. And online tools for the blended or online versions, and the house rules for whatever your format is. Then we go through all other practicalities. So how is mentoring done? As I said, the food, will there be catering, how much, and when and where? What do they need to prepare and bring, and so on? And what do you offer on site? Also good to go through, as said, the deliverables and submission process. What is expected from them? What should they deliver in the end? How do they submit it? Is it only through the DigiEduHack Challenge website, or is there something else in addition to it? What tools are they using, and so on? How do they present their final solution? All of this. And also go through the evaluation grid and evaluation process so that they know how long should their presentation be, how long do they have for the jury questions, what will the jury evaluate them on, and so on. And after this, it's pretty comprehensive, but there probably will still be a few questions. So then we open the floor for questions, answers, discussion, and finally close the session. After the session is done, or even before you start the session, click record so that you record the session and you can send out that recording to any participants. You can send out both the recording and the slide deck separately so that they can look at it however they want. And also send out the participant guide. You will provide a participant guide for all of your different mentors, participants, or jury profiles. So do prepare a few of them, and we can quickly go it through now as well. So this is a template for you to fill, of course, with your own information and whatever is relevant for your own hackathon. It's pretty comprehensive, just so that everything is clear for any participants. First, you go through the event and the topic. So first, the project overview of DigiEduHack. What is it about? Overall, what is the big project that we're all working under here? And what is the topic of your specific hackathon challenge? You will also go through your challenge question a bit more in detail and the topics. So what will the teams actually be working on a bit more in detail? And why this challenge? Why is it important? And why should this be solved through a hackathon? Here you can go through some expected outcomes as well. You can, of course, use your own web page as a base for what you add into these slides, but what are you expecting to see from the participants at the end? Are there any requirements? Once again, this should also be in your hackathon website, but add them here as well. Go through the prices as a reminder for your hackathon participants or any other incentives that they might find useful or motivating. Any support, visibility, monetary prices, anything. And also go through here who your sponsors are, partners are, and so on. What resources do you provide to the participants? You can link them here if there's data sets or videos or websites or anything, or just that they're free to do whatever they want, and you will provide mentoring to help them, whatever the case may be. Go through the format and or the venue, if it's on-site or blended. What is the location? All of that we have discussed earlier in the physical format call as well. If the event is online, go through the tools and links and anything that they will need in terms of communicating online, sending in their materials, getting mentoring, and so on. The second big topic here are the check-ins. As we have said in the format coaching calls, you will, if you want, do a few check-ins throughout your event. The short checks where the teams tell you where they are right now, what process have they made, what help would they need right now, are they stuck on something, and then they can get mentoring based on that conversation. So go through with the teams, what is a check-in, what is required from them, how do they need to prepare if they need to, and what is the difference on the first and the second check-in, and so on. Also go through the schedule once more, because if they don't know the schedule, they won't be at all of the items necessarily. So go through times and items in detail. So, as I already said, you might have a team numbering system. Why we do this, or why we recommend that you can do that, is because the team's team name might change during the hackathon. They can take a complete 180 and do something completely different than they thought when they came into the hackathon, and then you won't notice who is who by their name anymore if it keeps changing. If you have team 1, team 2, the number always the same, then it doesn't matter that the team name changes. So we recommend to have a good number order so that it is clear for everyone who is who and what happens in what order. Here we can go through the different tools, both for video communication here and for the text communication. How will your workspace be done and created? Here you can also show them the solution canvas. I will show it to you right away here as well. As said, you can show a solution canvas that looks like this that the teams can fill in to get some inspiration and make sure that they are filling in all the criteria and taking everything that they should into consideration. So this can be used as a mind map for the participants. Yes, back to the guide. Let's see that I get it on the right one. Yes. And then all the important links that you will need, link to the challenge so that they can remember what they will be solving and that they're relevant, even if they change ideas, all the tools that you will be using, any relevant links that you might think of, any forms that you want them to fill in, and then of course the submission form that they can send in their submissions through in the end. Also go through again who the mentors are and how is the mentoring done. As we said, if you're having a meet the mentors after sending out these guides, include a slide for that here. If you're sending out the guides after the meet the mentors / practicality session, then of course you skip this page. And a bit more about the mentoring process so that they know how they can get the support they need. The evaluation, again, you can here do the same thing, publish your judges and titles, pictures, so on, and go through the evaluation process. When is the deadline? How do they send in? How do they present? How will the jury evaluate? How long is the deliberation? And when and where is the winner announcement? And the grid with the 6 criteria that we already talked about, and then specify them on the following slides. So something like this to have. Yes. That is basically all you need to know for onboarding your participants. Let's jump in when it comes to the mentors. So same thing, you already talked about the mentor inviting and recruiting stuff in a previous coaching call. So now we will jump right into the onboarding mentors session. This can be a bit shorter, 30-45 minutes-ish, just because you don't need to have anything relating to including the teams in this one. Again, here, the mentors might not know each other yet, at least not all of them. So let them introduce themselves in the beginning of this call as well. After this, present the project, objectives, requirements of the hackathon so that they know what kind of event they will be supporting in. Present the format again, tools, logistics of venue or any other communication. Go through again the schedule in detail, but here you can kind of tweak it and focus on the mandatory mentor presence times so that they know when they should be available. Go through the deliverables with the mentors, what is expected from the teams, what should they push or where should they push the teams in what direction, and what is the deadline, of course, so that they also know when their help ends. Even though the mentors might not be the same as the judges, it's good that they know the jury, the criteria, the evaluation grid, how it applies to your challenge and so on, just so that they can make sure that their support is relevant. And here, for some of your mentors or all of them, it might be their first hackathon. They've never been to one. Maybe it's your first hackathon too. So explain thoroughly how the mentoring will take place. How will they do it? What is the aim? What is the purpose of a mentor? How much should they help? All of this. So how much mentoring and how is it done? And finally, Q&A and closing. Again, it's good to reserve enough time for this because the mentors might have some questions. After the session here, make sure to follow up again with your mentors, sending the recording, sending the slides, anything that you need, and also sending them the mentor guide because you have that as well. It looks pretty similar to the participant guide, but it's a bit more tweaked to only focus on the important things for mentors. But here again, cover the project overview of DigiEduHack and of your own event and challenge, the expected outcomes, because again, otherwise the mentors won't know in what direction they should be helping the teams. Any requirements that the participants will be required to have or do or complete that the mentors should know about. Again, go through the on-site venue if you have one and the online tools if you are using them. And again, if you have the onboarding session after sending out the guide, include this. If you send this out along with the recording of said onboarding session, then do remove this page or slide. Usually, it would be a good idea to have the Meet the Mentors session after the onboarding of the mentors so that they know what will be required from them in this session. So if that's the case for you as well, then have a slide for the Meet the Mentors. When will it be? What link will be used for it? How will it happen? So quick introductions of the project and then mentor comments and so on. Go through the schedule and here emphasize the items that are relevant to mentors in particular. Go through the different video and text communication structure, tools, links, anything important. And also mention the internal communication team tracker if you have one. You may want to create a tool to keep track of the progress of the mentoring progress. And in this, if it's a spreadsheet or something with all the teams, you can easily list which mentors are helping out which teams. They can write some mentor comments, maybe if they see that there's something that needs to be flagged. They can easily see and you can see the progress of the mentoring and so on. So if you choose to have something like this, then do include it in your guide. And here again, who are their fellow mentors? So do include the profiles and the process of the mentoring. So what will be done? Go through the evaluation process just as an FYI for the mentors and the evaluation grid that was described and will be mentioned more next week. So pretty much the same topics and things for those mentors as well. And finally, your third group of guests, the judges. For the judges, it can be even shorter, the onboarding session, because they will only be there for one day, not the whole hackathon. Even though your hackathon might only be one day, so then they're only there for the last hours, but still, they have a smaller slot of when they need to be there. So a 30-minute slot-ish for your onboarding session. Here again, you might not know who the jury members are. They might not know each other, so let them introduce themselves, again with a challenge-related angle. Go through here again the project, the objectives, requirements of the hackathon. What is it about? What hackathon are we hosting here? Go through the format of your hackathon, at least the presentation of the final solutions and the deliberation that the jury will be a part of. And also the schedule in detail, focusing on whatever happens after the deadline. So when the teams send in their presentation materials. So go through the process. How will the teams present? Is it a pre-recorded video that will be streamed for the jury members? Will they be live on the stage giving a pitch? Do they need to have a venue? What am I trying to say? A demo or something else, so that the jury kind of knows how the presentation part will take place. How long will the pitches be? How long will they have for questions and answers after, and so on. And that kind of goes into the deliverables and deadlines section more. So make sure that you cover everything that the jury needs to know here. And then the evaluation process and the grid. So do show the evaluation grid that they will fill in, explain what the grade options are and so on. How does it apply to your challenge and so on. And then, of course, as I briefly mentioned, the whole evaluation process, all the way from seeing the pitches and answering or asking questions to the deliberation, filling in their scores, and finally deciding on and awarding the winners. Usually, it's nice for the teams to have the jury announce the winners and hand over any prizes that you have. So go through all the way until the hackathon has closed, the progress and the process there. And finally, some questions and answers before you close the call. And here again, to keep everyone on board and everyone knows what they should do, send out the recording and send out the jury guide after. Looks pretty much the same. It's a bit shorter, as I said, but go through the project overview, your own challenge, the outcomes, requirements, format, everything the same. If you're having the onboarding session after sending out the guide, include a slide about it. Otherwise, forget about it. Go through the jury day schedule or, the jury day schedule, and focusing on whenever the jury comes in and everything that is relevant and mandatory for the judges. Go through the event tools again, if this is relevant. So if it's an online or blended event, where should they be, and so on? What is the tool that is used? And if it's on site completely, they will only be seeing the pitches live and writing in their scores on a non-digital version. Then of course you don't need to have online tools. But go through the evaluation grid or scorecards, however you want to do it. Do they fill it in digitally, or do they have them in paper format, so that they know? Also go through again, who are the judges, the profiles, pictures, anything like this, and go through the evaluation process as you do in the onboarding session as well. So when is the deadline? What will be delivered? Is there something in addition to only submitting on the website and so on. How will the presentations be done? Questions, all of that. How long is the deliberation? How many teams will they actually try to award? Is that already known? Will you reveal the scores to everyone or not? How do you collect the scores from the jury members? All of this. And finally, time and place of the winner announcement, and do add here, if you wish, that it would be nice that the jury members actually give out the prize and that they are on stage for that award ceremony. And here, super important in this guide to have that grading and evaluation criteria explained. So the 6 different criteria and the points that can be given for them and all of those support questions. And that is the jury guide as well. So a few things to take into consideration when onboarding and making sure that you're preparing all of your participants the right way. If you feel like this was a bit messy and you don't know how to clearly show the others how your event will be done, do reach out to us with questions. We're here to help you. And all of these guides that we just went through and the solution canvas can be found in Discord in the resources forum. So you can find them easily there and use them and fill them for your own participants, mentors, and judges. If there's something that we're forgetting and that is super crucial for your event, you know that you can always edit them so that it pleases you and serves the best purpose for your event. But do keep the branding the same as discussed in previous calls. If you have any questions, as said, you can reach out to us over email or in the weekly call again this Friday at 10 a.m. on Discord. And I will be seeing you next Wednesday again for another coaching call. Thank you, everyone, and enjoy your evening.